Welcome everybody for another fantastic evening of free enterprise with our Friday night community race. We have a fantastic race set up for you tonight with the nickname Shopping for Crystals. I'm joined tonight by my co-commentator Rex Rawl and Invenerable handling restreaming duty for us this evening. You ready for a good race, Rex?
Yeah, this is some interesting flags we got here, and I think interesting flags often make for an interesting race.
And I made the mistake again. Rex Raul. I apologize.
Yeah, well, I mean, I answer to both.
off to a good start already. Yeah, we got some interesting flags. We got V1 tonight, so that means we're going to be forging a crystal. So what all does that entail for us, Rex?
With that, normally you'd find the crystal shuffled among the key items. In this case, what we do is take the ingredients that normally Coco the blacksmith uses to make an Excalibur sword, which are the adamant and the legend sword. But instead of forging you an Excalibur, this time he forges you the crystal itself, which he can then use to transform Zeramus into a defeatable form and win the game.
The almighty crystal.
Yeah.
All right, looks like we're going to see our first key item, and we got a Fuso and a Rosa to start. That's pretty good. And they get a Sylph for their troubles. So that's a fantastic start, considering we have Rex and I's favorite flag set, C5. So we're limited to 5 unique characters. So the fact we got 2 healers right off the bat, and one of them is a nuke machine, is a pretty fortunate start for our runners.
Yeah, Fu's going to be a little bit weak to start with, since we have the F flag, which is the Fusia challenge. So with every boss that's defeated, 3 more spells will be unlocked for Fusia with 100 HP gained. But that, considering we're doing a Forge the Crystal Seed, defeating the number of bosses to power them up shouldn't take too long. And we see over on Poidrak's screen, checking out what spells he starts with. Got a smattering of pretty weak ones. Float's an interesting one. Depending on how early we have access to the underworld, that could mean looting some trap chests for maybe potentially higher tier gear.
And right off the bat, one thing I love about this unique flag set we have, and you can see it right off the bat, 4 just very unique starts. Everybody went in opposite directions. We got Rumblefish checking out Antlion Cave. Baka decided to check out, see what was happening in the Mist Dragon Cave, try to level up Fusia a little bit right off the bat. And we have Poidrak and Natara looting Baron as per a normal strat. So right off the bat, lots of variety already.
Yeah, and after taking a look at the smattering of early level spells, Baka Shinobi might have been trying to find a really easy boss of that Mist Dragon spot to get maybe a level 2 elemental spell or like a virus or something like that, so that he could do a bit more damage right off the base. But finding that Mom Bomb there was a bit unfortunate, because the way that the scaling works in this game, the Mom Bomb always has a lot more HP than the default boss at that spot. So,
and I did
not going to be
notice,
done easily.
Poidrak popped into the inn there in Kaipo. I saw one of the twins. I didn't catch which one it was, but we do know one of our characters is a twin. And I saw a crystal sword there in the weapon shop for Kaipo. So there's some fantastic stuff in play, which brings me around to one of our other flags we're running tonight, which is S4. That means there is possibility for fantastic stuff in shops. However, as Rex and I were discussing earlier, we're running at T1 with very few glitches. Only the live glitch is enabled. So you're going to see our runners running on a budget here to try to get to these amazing things they have available to them in shops.
Yeah, if we end up finding Cecil, then buying that crystal sword in a shop could be very good. However, it is very expensive. So it's going to be very tough to find the money to do that, plus buy all the other gear that you might be able to find in the shops. Now, it does say we do not have the JI flag, so we don't have Japanese items available, so you don't need to spend as much money on things like star veils, mute bells. I know lots of people spend all their money on mute bells, but you don't need to spend any on it because they're not going to be there for you.
Yeah, and to answer Treasure Golem's chat, what T1 does is it limits how randomized the treasures are. So, like for the example of S4 for shopping, that means it's a wild randomization. Any items can be found anywhere in any of the shops, more or less. For T1, it's heavily tiered. If you're in an early area, you're more likely to find early items. Uh, and there's going to be less of the greater items because they're less available in the pool.
Well, and specifically with T1, all the items that are available in treasure chests in the game are shopped. So if it's available in a chest, you can open it. But that's also going to make it so that a lot of the things that you find in chests are going to be like Gear 2 is a life potion, ether, because these curative items are probably the most commonly found things. But on the other hand, things like an Avenger is also found in a chest. So you could get rewarded, but the really good items are few and far between.
Yeah, it basically eliminates the ability to find stuff you wouldn't normally find in a chest, like let's say an adamant armor, for example.
Right, you're not going to see an adamant armor in a chest, that's for sure. Yeah, the only way you're going to get that in this seed is, well, there's going to be two ways, because you can turn it into pigtail. You can also possibly buy it in a shop, because with that S4, even the great adamant armor could be for sale somewhere.
And while we were discussing there, Baka Shinobi did find Cecil up on the mountain and has found the Baron Key in Antlion. Rumble also found the Baron Key in Antlion as well.
Yeah, so that means that crystal sword might be in play as far as buying it if Cecil is available. We also see D Mist being found right away with the NCK flag that we have here. We've got no free lunch for key items, so that means defeating the D Mist will unlock another key item, potential key item in Mist Village once that is defeated. So despite the fact it's a bit slower of a fight, especially with low-level Fusia and Rosa to get through there, taking that time might be worth it, because if it's an important key item like a Magna Key or something, that could set Poidrek and Natara ahead quite a bit.
Yeah, potentially very important. If that Mist Dragon holds a key item they need to get into go mode, and you're one of the racers that missed that's already putting you behind. So that could be a big boon for them. Meanwhile, Rumblefish in the Baron Inn has found the Darkness Crystal. That's a fantastic find.
Yeah, that's a really good item. We'll have access to potentially one of the 5 characters up there, and that's going to be the key to all the moon bosses, which are in the mix with the KM flag. So lunar bosses are potential spots for key items, as well as that Bahamut. There could always be value in there.
Yeah, and that's one of the other things with our flags in play. And correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe I saw the duplicate flag in play. So with it being C5, if they run into duplicate characters, they're not going to be able to take them. So that can limit the party pool here pretty greatly.
So you can have duplicate characters.
Ah, okay. Good
deal. We do see something on Rumblefish's screen right now that does seem like it might be worth buying even at this early stage of the game. And those are samurai arrows. They're the second most powerful arrows in the game. They don't really hit any weaknesses like some of the other arrows might, but they're going to be just strong overall. And if you're going to be using Rosa as an archer, it's a very nice find early to get those. And by using that Baron key into the Baron shop, that's going to be very good overall. Throughout the game, Rosa should be able to use them for some good offense.
Yeah, and Baka Shinobi just found an Excalibur from Fabul there, so a pretty heavy incentive to possibly go and knock out Ordeals and get Paladin Cecil at this point.
Yeah, now it might not be as worth it to buy that crystal sword.
And a Masamune behind the D-Mist check. Not could just be useless or worth selling, assuming we don't get Edge. We don't really know for sure if he's in the pool yet.
Yeah, there's one character that we haven't seen. We know that there's a twin in the mix from the Kaipo check, but the fifth character is still a mystery at this point. If it turns out to be Edge, then that's about as good as you can get.
Looks like Rumble's making their way deeper into Baron, while Poydrak's checking the Antlion Cave.
Yeah, pretty aggressive start here from Rumblefish, but could definitely pay off. Being that you're starting with Fusia makes it so that you can make a play like this as early as Rumblefish is doing.
Yeah, assuming on the available spell sets, these bosses could be obtainable. And Baka, as expected, is checking out Ordeals now to get him some Paladin Cecil. Natara has finished off Miss Dragon, so she'll probably be following up with that check here shortly.
Yeah, and the Ordeals makes a lot of sense, both Cecil and Fusia, because there's 3 bosses up here, so that's 3 more kind of level up, like stage up. 9 new spells total, and 300 more HP for Fusia is really important, as well as making Cecil quite good.
And Rumble's found D-Lunars here, so it should be very possible to knock out with this group. And Baka has found Antlion on top of Ordeals.
Yeah, both of them. The fact that we start with Rosa means that you can use her 8 to attack either the D-Lunar or the Antlion without triggering their counter scripts. The fight command is what sets them off.
Yeah, and then the curative magic too, since they're on.
Yeah, for the D-Lunars, having those Cure 3 really helps speed that fight along. It's a very heads-up play to use an item like that. And since without J items, a lot of the items that will be available are going to be those curative items, and things like Cure 3s, knowing when you can use them like that can really make your run go a lot better.
For sure, Natara now has found an Elven Bow, so she's going to get much more utility out of her Rosa. Yeah,
and that'll help her out if she goes up the route that Baka Shinobi is going and finding the Magus Sisters in the back attack, because the Elven Bow gives 4 times damage to the Magus Sisters.
The Magus Sisters are in a pretty sketchy spot here on Ordeals. They can pack a punch, but Fusia is going to be pretty strong in this spot.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not going to be too difficult a fight, I think, for Baka Shinobi at this point. Having the level 2 magic spells. The question is, does he have a way to defeat Cindy in the middle? That's going to be the toughest one. It looks like he's going to try to reflect magic off of himself. Now, keeping Mindy at bay will mean that he can avoid the Delta attack part of it. But the important thing is making sure that Cindy goes down, because Cindy is the one that can revive the other ones.
Looks like Rumblefish has found CPU in Baron. This is more of an annoying fight than anything, but this is a pretty low HP spot, so it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, and this is going to be a big payoff for buying those samurai arrows. Just being able to have Rosa deal more damage on this fight will be very, very helpful. Yeah, that Delta attack, like Fusia starts with some pretty good equipment with the samurai robe and the diamond bracelet, and so can shrug off a lot more magic damage than we saw Rosa take 700 damage to that Delta attack. Now, Virus is going to be the tough one, yeah, and that causes a reset for Baka Shinobi. That's not an easy spot. If he goes and finds that Elven Bow that we saw Natara find before, then he might have a better shot at that one.
Inven in chat pointing out something that I wasn't even aware of. The fact that Rumble's using the aim ability in the middle spot can actually overflow your accuracy and have a negative impact.
Yeah, that's something that's not intuitive. And so it's causing him more difficulties than... Like, he'd be better off just using the fight command at this point. And he does there. And it does, like, 300 more damage, so...
Baka right now is taking down Mom Bomb, while Natara finishes off the Octomom. Yeah, we're already seeing just so many fantastic items and shops. It's definitely a lot of availability. Just getting the money to afford any of these amazing items at this point is the difficulty.
Yeah, there's not a whole... Like, if T4 was on and you've had a bunch of stuff that you're opening up that you can sell, like all those whistles and everything that you might find, but you just don't see that that amount of really expensive gear that you normally sell in like a T3 or T4 setting. So being able to afford all that really nice looking stuff is going to be very difficult.
Call me haphazard, but I would almost be really tempted to sell that Masamune. Like, selling something that I might be useful over something that I know will be useful would be very tempting.
I think that's probably a smart play, as long as it gets you enough money to afford the item that you want. It just depends, right?
Yeah, it really just depends. Poitrak, meanwhile, making their way up Ordeals as well. And Rumble still just fighting through the battle of attrition with CPU.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a tough one. It might be... and Rumble might be waiting for the wall that the CPU opens with to wear out, and then you can use a good magic spell to do some damage, and then as soon as the magic hits it, it'll re-up that wall. But if you can time it right, you can get some extra damage in it. And I see Foo's arms are raised with the magic. Oh, it's a healing magic, okay.
It looks like, I'm not sure if it was the Baron Soldiers or if it's the Gauntlet, but it looks like it's the Football Gauntlet that Baka's run into.
I believe this is the Baron fighting Kaipo, because it's just Officer Soldier and not, I think it's General Fighter in the other one.
Oh, okay. I never knew that distinction. I learned something. And Poitrak still is making their way through Ordeals now, making their way to the Magus Sisters, and Baka has found that precious Darkness Crystal.
Yeah, we'll see if Poitrak has any other things. Also lacking a way to get through the wall that Cindy has through Fusia's magic. Not sure if we saw Poitrak find that Elven Bow. I guess we'll see once the damage comes from Rosa.
Meanwhile, on our bottom right, Natara's finishing up Antline, finding the almighty Karate.
And with the low amount of damage that Rosa did, it does not look like Poitrak has found that Elven Bow. So defeating Cindy is not going to be the easiest thing.
And instead of reflecting magic, is opting to whap Cindy with a stick instead.
But yeah, we will see a lot of prioritizing of making sure Mindy is dead as often as possible, because that Delta attack is going to be the real damage dealer that this fight can do.
Oh yeah, definitely the most potential there.
It looks like Baka Shinobi is now heading up the route that Rumblefish went through the Barren Waterway. Gonna get some levels and everything, probably trying to get better prepared for that Mega Sister fight, because that was a difficult one there. That's going to be I think that's going to be a tough one for a lot of the runners tonight.
Yeah, definitely a sketchy spot there. Rumble has to be making some pretty good progress at CPUs. It should be any moment now. Just whiffing a lot of shots with Rose, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the that overflow that Inven originally mentioned in the chat. It's tough. That's one thing that hopefully if Rumblefish decides to go back and watch this and can learn from that, and because he'd be in pretty good shape if he was just using the fight command. Yeah, there's a reset from Poydrek. That Mega Sister is pretty tough there. Another item that people like, if you're going to item shops or weapon shops, you might be able to find the mute arrows. Also do 4 times damage against the Mega Sisters, as well as the silent staff and the mute dagger. So a lot of options that you have to get there. And meanwhile, Rumblefish finally does take down that CPU. It took a while, but he was successful, and that's what's important in the end.
Yeah. Battle of attrition's over. Let's see if we get another character. And it's Edge!
It is Edge. So that Mazamune in Mist is definitely useful now. So
yeah,
that is interesting. So now we know. We couldn't say, it's hard to tell which twin it is when all we see is from a glance. Oh, but there it is in Baron. So it's Palom. So we have Palom, Rosa, Cecil, Fusia, and Edge.
Yeah, that's a pretty good party, all things considered.
This is a pretty high-powered party, especially considering you're getting an Excalibur. What for completing Kabul? Was it?
Yes.
You get a free Excalibur there. We get a free Mazamune for defeating the Mist Dragon. Like we've got some real potential for a lot of damage.
The heavy hitters are lining up. And Tara's bapping her way through some guards here.
Yeah, we do have pig percent on screen right now.
And Rumble's opting to face down Ordeals. I might have just said bapping, yeah.
Baka Shinobi making use of the free heal available in Cecil's bedroom in Baron. A nice way to restore if the first fight in the Baron sequence is a little bit draining on your resources before going into the second one. As much paranoia asked, did Rumblefish find that Masa? I don't believe so, because I think only Poydrek and Natara did the early hunts for D-Mist and found it, so.
But still, even just Edge on his own, starting off at a higher level, still pretty decent damage potential at this point.
Yeah, and especially considering the Mega Sisters fight that's coming up, with Edge, you've got somebody who could deal decent physical damage. Now, if he doesn't have a mute dagger, it's still gonna not do that 4 times, but his damage output at this part of the game is pretty good. So he should be able to, I think Rumblefish has got a much better shot of defeating the Mega Sisters at this point than anybody that we've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, you can Zerk him at this point. You can, lob pointy objects, whatever you need.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. Edge, especially in the early part of the game, his versatility makes him extremely strong. We saw him busting out the Ninja Flame here during the Antlion fights so that it didn't trigger the counter needle. And that's something that'll be available for him for the Mega Sister fight as well as if he's got any other extra weapons that can be darted. Sometimes that can be a good way to do damage. And his regular attack is pretty high compared to everybody else at this point in the game too. So just very good for the early part of the game. He scales back a little bit for the end, and he's kind of a lot more even or behind some of the other characters when the end of the game comes. But in the early part, he is very, very strong.
Yeah, also has some okay multi-target magical damage,
Yeah.
which can probably come in a little handy here. Or you can just opt to berserk him up, and he won't stop coming, and he won't stop coming.
Yeah, I think berserking him makes a lot of sense here. You can use Fu to make sure that that Mindy is taken care of, and that let Fu take care of Cindy. We see Baka Shinobi cashing in that darkness crystal to activate the big whale in Mysidia. So we might see the first of our runners take a trip up to the moon.
Yeah, and that brings us back to our flags too. Key items can be found in moon boss spots as well if Baka feels they can take them on.
And indeed, he is going to check out at least the character.
And Rumble has finished the Magus sister fight. He's going to finish out Ordeals here.
Yeah, the first of our runners to see this. So this is interesting too. Baka Shinobi finds another Prusia in his location on the moon. And Rumblefish gets the tower key.
Now Poydrak now faced with the potential battle of attrition with CPU. An easy peasy water hag fight for Rumblefish to cap out Ordeals.
And to answer Barney FF, dupes, we do allow dupes in this flag set because we do not have the no dupes flag on.
Despite what any random casual geek might tell you.
Yeah. Looks like Baka Shinobi is looking for value in Cave Bahamut in as much as looking for a little bit of experience, I think.
So Natara's made her way up to Ordeals as well, hoping to finish that off, get her some Paladin Cecil. And at this point, she's got a couple of long fights to make her way through here, while Rumble is going to make their way back down Ordeals. Yeah, that double Fu action for Baka is not bad at all.
Yeah, but at these low levels, even this one Warlock to carry fight is not going to be the easiest one to deal with.
Oh, it's going to hurt, for sure. Is that yeah, it looks like that was a reset.
Yeah, if he had access to the spell Stone, then it probably wouldn't be much of a problem, since that could take them out, but his food does not know that yet.
Looks like opting to take on another fight here, hoping to grind out a little bit, and just has one Warlock this time, so that's a little more obtainable.
To answer Chokosur, I believe he does have Fatal. Might not know that he can use it on the Warlocks here.
Yeah, that's a strong possibility. Fatal's an easy spell to overlook at times. And Natara feeling the pressure now from the Magus sisters. Poydrak has Rosa in a different position, so is a little bit more equipped to get through this fight quicker. But we'll see. It's still kind of a drawn-out fight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Natara did have that elbow bow equipped, and that's the reason why Fu berserked her up. But unfortunately, the Delta attack hit Rosa, and that's going to be tough for her to come back here, I think.
And it missed a while ago, but Rumblefish did find the hook, so can make their way down to the underground, making their way through Evelyn Cave if they decide to. It looks like they might be.
Yeah, that must have been the item from completing Baron, right?
Yes.
Yeah, behind the CPU of Baron, yeah. So yeah, this CPU fight that we saw Rumblefish go through and Poidrax fighting now is a relatively safe fight, especially with both Rosa and Lucia in the party. But without the damage output that like a Paladin Cecil could do for them, it's just going to be a really, really long fight.
Yep, it is drug out. There's definitely value there with that hook. It's just going to take a while to get it. Baka taking a moment for a quick nap before moving along. So they found what they needed. They got their double food from the moon. They're heading back to Ordeals.
Yeah, got some levels. I think was probably leveling up Palom to get Quake to deal with the Maga Sisters, is my guess. Because Quake does get around that wall that is put on Cindy in the middle, and once that's taken care of, like Quake makes the Mega Sisters a lot more manageable.
Mm-hmm. And Rumble's found a Staleman trapped chest in Evelyn Cave.
Yeah, since we don't have the KT flag, there's no possibility for a key item out of these. But you know, you do get gear out of them, and you know, the little bit of experience that you get from trap chests can sometimes make the difference between whether or not you're able to beat the boss in the Rubicante spot for a hook seed. And it looks like this is shaping up to be a hook seed.
Looks like it. And Poidrax finishing off CPU, so they're getting their hook now. And you can see without the J items here, Staleman can be a little rough, so Rumblefish working hard to get through it here.
Like the other runners, Natara having a hard time with that Mega Sister fight as well.
Yeah, it's a rough spot for it. She does have the Elven Bow.
Yeah, and it helps, but still at these low levels, it's still not the...
Yeah, four times very little is still very
yeah, exactly. Now, Baka Shinobi's going to have some revenge against these Mega Sisters now.
Oh yeah, Quake ought to do some work here.
Just gotta hope that Palom gets his turn before the Delta attack hits him.
And it looks like we have a lot of people meeting up on Ordeals now. Poidrax feeling like they can handle the Maga Sisters with that Masamune and Edge. They're ready to go. So we might get 3 Mega Sister fights at the same time.
Yeah, meanwhile, Rumblefish heading down that hook crowd.
Yep, potentially the first of our runners to hit Underground.
Definitely going to be the first to have the opportunity. We'll see if we've got a boss that's a bit of a gatekeeper there as well.
Yeah, Baka's really well set up right now to get through the cave quickly once, you know, if they should decide to go take down Baron.
I mean, but don't get me wrong, Rumblefish is in a really good spot to get through it. Having found Edge, having completed Ordeals, everything like that. I think he's in pretty good shape. I think you're right, he's not quite as in good shape as...
Ooh, and Pain Man in the Rubicante spot. Sorry to dash any of your dreams of having him on the moon. Yeah, potentially another Palom if you're into that.
Well, he's really good at clearing out a lot of the bosses in this game, so...
Oh yeah, a lot of potential for some entertaining Zero-miss fights with all the casters in play and strong hitters.
Yeah, with the available duplicates allowed in this, you can really tailor your party if you want to have like a hybrid strategy with Edge and Cecil and back them up with some reflected spells. Or if you want, it seems like we know of 2 Paloms, 2 Fusias, and a Rosa. You can easily do pure reflect with this setup that we've been given today. And with the rescue flag on, anyone that you leave beside, you can always return to Mysidia and pick them up later. So
True.
you can really tailor it exactly how you want, like before you grind and end the game. As Utter Nutter says, is Pain Man the new slang for Donkey Kong Cecil? Yeah, we refer to him as Pain Man because that's what he does. He brings the pain.
Poydrak and Baka making their way through the finish of Ordeals. Baka's already finished, making their way down, and Natara giving another shot to the Magus sisters here. Oh yeah, for sure. The DKC nickname meta is ever evolving. Rumble getting some mad ogres, some potential pain in this spot.
Yeah, those ogres are certainly upset about something. Baka Shinobi now doing some fighting and finding that D-Mist that we saw Poydrak and Natara find. So this is going to give Baka access to that mass immunity, but he does not have Edge in the party right now. We'll see if he decides to go down that Baron route and be rewarded with that.
And at the very least, yeah, it's going to help cap up Fusia here as well. And even if the Masamune doesn't, if he opts not to use Edge, you can sell it, get some pretty decent money. So
yeah, I mean, getting that item is going to be good, whether or not you equip it to a ninja.
Tara having better luck this time with the Magus Sisters so far. She can just finish off Sandy here.
Yeah, the timing was a lot better. Did not have her white mage taken down by the Delta attack, so much easier to deal with now. And with that, all of our runners on stream have defeated the Magus Sisters, and that's great.
And Baka's finished with D-Mist. Looks like Poydrak's thinking Darkness Crystal. Gonna turn it in.
And I don't blame, I totally understand wanting to sell that. It looks like he's going, the other reason to go to Mist at this point, check these item shops and see if there's equipment shops, to see if there's anything good to buy here, because, I mean, that's what S4 is all about, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's very tempting to hit up those shops. You never know what you're going to find.
And so I don't know if the key to this sort of flag set is to just avoid those equipment shops because the money is so tight, or if it's to go there and get like one key, like really strong weapon, like a Stardust Rod for a Palom or something like that. and just use that as your anchor throughout the entire run. Because I don't think you're going to be able to afford a whole lot more than one or maybe two really good pieces of equipment.
Yeah, and ultimately it really depends on what other items you find and what you're willing to part with. And some of those more expensive items are not easy to part with. For many
I suppose once you know exactly who the characters are, it makes knowing what you want to keep. Like at this point, if you find like a white spear or something, it's an easy sell, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess, or whatever the best spears that you can find in a chest, because I think the lunar rewards don't count for that. But like a really good spear would be sellable at this point.
And Baka's making their way through Baron. Should be able to make pretty quick work of it here to get the hook.
Yeah, and this is going to be the advantage that Baka has that Poydrak and Rumblefish didn't have, is a lot more offense with the Paladin Cecil here.
Natara, meanwhile, has finished her Ordeals ordeal and is making her way down with Paladin Cecil in tow. Rumblefish has finished off their Mad Ogre fight and making their way deeper.
So it looks like Baka Shinobi's defeated the most bosses of anyone, having his Fusia at 1500 HP and knowing the Mighty Nuke spell. Unfortunately, it got reflected by the D-Lunar there to take care of Palom.
Yeah, those D-Lunars can be quicker than you expect.
Yeah, counters don't go through the normal queue. They skip to the front of the queue when they happen. Unfortunately, no experience for Palom on this fight, but that should be fine.
Yeah, but topping up Fusia with even more spells, so...
Okay, looks like Rumblefish is about to check. We're going to see who the other boss here in the tower, in the upper tower, is going to be in the King and Queen Evelyn spot. Looks like we have the Dark Elf, so that's going to be one that I think they're going to be happy to see there.
Oh yeah, very doable.
Because this spot has a really high physical attack, but the magic stuff is a bit more dealable with. And that, I think, is the official, like, it's dealable with. That's what it is.
It's the technical term for it.
Oh, and we got more pig percent with that whisper. Yeah, you're right, Teddy Phoenix. I probably shouldn't use so much Technobab like dealable with, but it just rolls off the tongue so perfect.
You're just dealing with it.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Baka Shinobi doing the Meteo against the CPU.
Just getting that swag. When in doubt, Meteo.
Poydrak going to the Giant of Babel. Is he going to be doing an early D-Machine grind, maybe?
I mean, with Lucio and Toad, I guess there's no reason why they can't.
Yeah, if Fu knows weak at this point, could do all the grind you need for the rest of the seed right now.
Yeah, that could be potentially game-changing. In Dark Elf, he changed, but he ain't good enough. So Rumblefish will be our first to hit Underground. Well, assuming, you know, they make it through Pain Man, but I think they should be able to pull it off.
Yeah, I think Pain Man's going to be dealable with as well, because of the Fusia just has a pretty high HP pool, so taking the 3 hits from Pain Man shouldn't be too tough. Yeah, with that save and everything that Poindrek's doing here, it definitely looks like setting up for a D machine grind. So
It's grind time. And Natara's now making her way to get the hook.
and yeah, Rumblefish getting through the Dark Knight Cecil fight. 364 HP to spare on Fusia. Well done. And Rumblefish is going to be the first of our featured runners to make it to the Underworld.
And Poindrek here may not be looking to grind all the way up. They just might be looking to get a little more utility out of Palom, and while they're at it, get a little boost to Cecil and Edge, just to make life easier going forward.
I guess that's a possibility, but I think if you're going to go into the Giant and just take the time to go all the way into the Giant, you might as well do all the grind that you want to do at one point. Is what I would.
It's definitely a tough call. To Invin's point, without the 10 key item boost, you're only getting 2,550 experience per kill, so it's going to take a while for that to add up.
That's 2,550 gold.
Gold, okay, misunderstood.
You get a lot of experience per kill. Which is,
that's why I was confused by that.
It's why that's used in the vanilla speedrun.
Right.
Or I guess I don't know if it's currently used. At one point it was used. It probably still is. I don't know. I haven't watched a vanilla speedrun of this in a while, so if strats have changed, I'm not up on it.
I know some of the items in play, I mean, they don't really need a shopping spree if they level up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we haven't seen a super good rod. I mean, I saw a Stardust rod for sale, but I haven't seen them in a chest. So that might be something. It might be some equipment for Rosa could be useful, but Fu's already decked out. The equipment that he gets is good enough for him to end the game with. You don't need to do any shopping for him. We found that Mazamune for Edge, so he's good to go. We found that Excalibur for Cecil, so he's good to go. So it's really Palom and Rosa that I think you might consider shelling out some money for a good equipment.
And Natara's already made her way through to the CPU fight, so in a pretty decent position to get through this. We'll see how long it takes.
Yeah, well, her Fusia also does Meteos, so
shouldn't be too long.
Yeah, basically whatever the charge time is for Meteor. It's a bit high. It is a long spell to cast, but Poindrek has found that D Machine fight is now doing the grind right now.
And Rumble just immediately diving tower, taking advantage of that tower key.
Yeah, having 2 key items located there makes it a very juicy target for the key item hunters.
I'm going to turn in the tower key first, so potential key item here.
You see Bahamut is the boss of the tower key room. This is it's a very easy spot. We're just replacing the vanilla Dark Imps there. So it's going to be very low HP. There are some places, especially early in a seed, where Bahamut could be a problem. But I think, especially with the power level of the party that we have at this one, basically anywhere that they find Bahamut, I think they'd be able to deal with I think Rumblefish probably would have liked to see a harder boss in that spot.
Looks like Bach is all ready to go. He's going to make their way to Evelyn Cave, try to hit underground.
And Natara successfully medioed the CPU, rewarded with her edge, rewarded with her CPU, and looks like going to the equip screen, so did keep that Mesamune ready to go.
She found a strength ring for edge, so that's pretty handy.
Yeah, I can use that. That'll be something that's good for either edge or
Cecil.
Yeah. That's one that I wish that Rosa could equip, because Archer Rosa could use just a little bit more of a boost sometimes.
And looks like we're going to see some Ruby Leg action up on the tower. Very well equipped here to take care of this pretty quickly.
Well, it depends. If this Ice 3 hits before Ruby closes his coat, then he should be good. If he closes the coat first, then he's going to absorb that Ice 3. He does, so that's going to be tough. The timing is... What I think what makes Rubikon really tough sometimes is, since there's so many different spots that he can be in, you might be used to him being a certain speed and how fast it takes him to glare and then close his coat. And then you find him in another spot and you're not used to the timing of when to get those higher level spells in on him. So I think that's kind of what Rumblefish is up against here. Because if he was just a little slower, if it took him just a little bit longer, then that Ice 3 would have hit, and that would have done possibly quad 9 damage.
Yeah, that's true. Opts instead to just go for it with a nuke. This is good enough.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. It's not going to do as much damage as the Ice 3 in this case, but even if he closes his cape, he's going to be taking the damage from it. And one of the nice things about the Node
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Natara's actually checking Odin's spot, so that's interesting. Finds Mylon. I think she was our first runner to check Odin.
Yeah, like if this would have been a really easy fight, and this is a relatively easy fight, we'll see if she's successful with this one. What I would say, one of the nice things about the lack of J items is a lot of the items, and the fact that we're on T1, a lot of those curative items like the Ether ones really help in doing this D-Machine grind that we're seeing on Pointer's screen, because now you can just keep using those Ethers that are found, because Fusia has a limited number of MP in that 190, which is pretty static. It does not change unless you find Soma drops. You're not going to find them without J items up. So the fact that you can use all those Ethers in a fight like this is really useful.
Yeah, it looks like the Mylon's proven to be very doable here, so it's probably just a matter of time for Natara.
Yeah, once the ghasts are gone, Mylon gets a little bit souped up, casts those lit ones a bit faster, and throws in a punch every now and then. The punch will probably hit pretty hard, but the berserk damage from Cecil seems to be pretty good here too.
Yeah, with that Excalibur, he's going to do more and more damage with each level. And Baka almost ready to get underground. Just got to do a quick Painman fight.
Yeah, he's at a bit higher level than Rumblefish was. He might even be able to save Cecil. Yeah, just barely able to keep Cecil alive for this. See if he has time to get a life one to get some more experience on another character. It looks like he does, so that's nice.
All right.
It looks like Poindrak is done with the D-Machine Grub. 612,000 experience. I didn't see the gold count. But I'm sure it was a lot. I mean, not as much as the experience.
I believe around 60k. So definitely a good grind here for the party. They should be pretty good to go.
One of the other nice things about the starting equipment that Fusia has is he starts out with that diamond ring equipped, and that does have resistance to lightning, and Mylon's lit 1 will just do 1 damage. Mylon complains about his body and goes down, and Natara is the one who has defeated this spot. If this ends up being the Magma Key, she could be right back in a very good position here.
So with agility agnostic, and you're a little more familiar, so you can probably answer this for me. With agility agnostic, even though that Cecil is like level 60, as long as it positions them right, it's not going to be the anchor of the team, right? For speed.
That is correct. With that -AA flag that you're on there, instead of the agility calculation defaulting to Cecil, as it does in the vanilla game, it defaults it to whatever character is in the middle position. For Poydrak right now, that's going to be Fusia.
All right, so yeah, having a beefy Cecil with an Excalibur, I'd say Poydrak's pretty well set up.
Yeah, it definitely makes it so that downside, which is kind of an ugly downside in some situations for Cecil, made it so a lot of times people would hope to not find Cecil, especially in these ones like the C5. It just mitigates that completely.
Yeah, and that equips Poydrak well to make checks on the moon now too, so we're going to see some variety here if they decide to head up there.
See, Poydrak forgot to turn off encounters, running into a few imps there.
So they may opt to go underground instead. I assumed the early grind was to go to the moon, but I mean, it can make easy work to get to the underground and clear that pretty quickly too, so it's not a bad call.
Yeah, basically, the world and the moon is Poydrak's oyster right now. You can go wherever you want.
And I was not looking at Natara. It looks like she did finish Odin. I guess she didn't get anything good in that spot.
She got an Ashura summon.
Bummer.
Now, it looks like Rumblefish has found the Kabul Gauntlet. It looks like in the Dwarf Castle.
Yeah, it's a little drug out, but at least not too rough of a fight.
Yeah, this should be a tough fight for Rumble at this point.
Baka, meanwhile, has found the Ruby Leg. Should be able to make pretty quick work of them, hopefully.
Yeah, and Baka not messing around at all with the Ice 3, just going straight to do.
And Taro's following suit, going to make her way underground as well, looks like.
Actually, it looks like might be making a detour to the moon here.
And Invenerable, I totally vote for Natara's Torture Chamber to be our nickname for an upcoming community night.
Could be the nickname for the Friday night community in general. I guess every week she'll say, "Let's see what my evil desires are this week."
Oh, and Rumble's faced with the decision. Do I take Cecil? And opted not to. And Wyvern. Let's see which burn we're going to get today. if they even get the chance.
Might not even see it, but that nuke got out real fast.
Too bad, Wyvern. No burn for you.
I was just like, nope, don't even care. Just want to destroy it. It might have whipped. Oh, it was blast. This is firelight.
Ah.
Is that the special attack that the mind flayers use? I think.
I don't even remember. I so rarely see it. Bach is finished with tower and moving on. Oh, and then looks like Natara swapped up, actually heading to the moon instead. Maybe just doing a character check. Maybe more. We'll see.
Oh, looks like a shop check. Rumblefish was rewarded with a pan for completing Dwarf Castle, so now that enables the entire Sheila chain. 3 potential key item checks for Rumblefish. 1 in the Sylph Cave and 2 in Purple Castle by finding that pan. So he zips on over to the Sylph Cave as quickly as possible.
Oh yeah, gonna go bap him some karate.
Yeah, well, whereas Bakasho will be now heading down to the Fey March, taking that route instead of the Dwarf Castle that we saw Rumblefish go. So he's going to be able to check the vanilla free key item location where the rat tail would be in the vanilla game. Finds a twin harp there, useful item. I'm sure he would be everybody's hero if he decides to go and pursue that. Checking the shops down here, and then probably going to take a peek at who the bosses down here and see if they're handleable for him at this point as well.
It looks like, ooh, Natara looks for some value in Cape Muhammad and found money.
Rumblefish found a different kind of value in Sylph Cave with Pink Tail, which, since he already has the hook, now he's got access to a suit of adamant armor. Oh, and speaking of value, Natara, seeing King and Queen Evelyn in the Bahamut spot, finds a free boss.
Very interesting.
Yeah, they're just gonna throw a couple low-level fire spells at you and then become conscious and leave.
And she's gonna get in some mild target practice while she's there.
Yeah, if you can take them out faster than their script goes, then it makes it faster, clearly. But whether or not she's able to, she's gonna win the fight.
Yeah.
And if this is an important key item, remember, I believe it was Baka Shinobi was in the same cave, did not go down and check the box.
We have a moon boss here, Pale Dim.
Yeah,
those summon spot.
Those physical hits are not going to be a joke, but the power of nuke might be enough to take it down before the team goes.
Yeah, the double Fusuya is going to pay dividends here, I have a feeling.
It looks like Poidrex getting set up, ready to do the Dark Knight Cecil fight. At these levels, like, I think everyone's going to survive.
I think they might live. Yes, maybe. I think Rumble's going to check Odin now.
Yeah, and now especially armed with the adamant armor, this should not be a tough fight for Rumble at this point.
No,
It's not a lot of time.
And a crystal sword for Natara's troubles. Not bad.
Yeah, our restreamer Invenerable doing his best George Takei impression with the "Oh my."
Oh my. And at his point, she can sell that Excalibur, make some money, make some dough.
Or she could throw it with edge.
Yeah,
It deals a lot of damage when you throw an Excalibur.
And an adamant from Pale Dim, 1/2 of go mode for Baka.
That's huge.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
We've got
Opting to do part of the Sheila chain, it looks like.
Yeah, we've got the access to the Underworld, access to the Moon, and one part of go mode. One part of the crystals. So just one piece left for Baka in order to be in a full go mode.
And I think Baka's thinking, you know what, this is going to be the time. Sheila's going to be holding the other piece that I need. It never fails, so I'm just going to gamble. I'm gonna check this out before I get the pan and hope for the best. Natara's got a crystal sword now. She's got a second Fusuya if she decides to keep him. She is walking away from the moon with a pretty decent party.
Yeah, this is an interesting choice. Does she want another Fusuya? Caster like Palom, who, if you level him up to the point where he has nuke, is probably going to be more useful in the Zeromus fight. But you don't need to level Fusuya at all in order to make him useful in that fight. So that's kind of the trade-off that you have there. And it looks like she's deciding to go with Fusuya for that. But I wouldn't blame her either way. They're both excellent choices.
Yeah, I'd be tempted to toss Palom at that rate, because, I mean, even for the interim, you're going to have an easier time having to, level 50 Fusuyas already, and potentially won't have to grind as much to be ready for Zeromus, so...
Yeah, I can see that. I think there's definitely an argument about ditching Rosa as well, because of just straight damage output as well. It's going to be better with Palom than with Rosa for the final fight. The trade-off there is Rosa definitely has better HP growth than Palom does, so I think there's an argument for all three of who you're going to keep there.
Yeah, it's all a matter of personal preference at the end of the day.
Yeah, whatever you feel the most comfortable with is what you should pick. That's usually what I go with.
Oh, Natara's going for the moon plays. I'm a happy Dave.
All right, so we've got definite divergence there.
And since key items will not be in trap chests, we're just going to see her probably dive straight to moon bosses, give him a check here. Considering she got lucky in Cave Bahamut, maybe hoping to get lucky again. If not, she's still pretty well equipped to take them on, potentially.
Yeah, with two Fusiyas, moon bosses become a lot more easy. And being able to use lightning magic against Odin here is going to be useful as well.
Most definitely. I apologize, bear with me for just a moment. I'm having to refresh the stream.
Oh, it looks like Odin now has his sword up. Hopefully Natara can take him out before he does his devastating Odin attack.
Odin has heard fighting words. He's ready to go. Let's see if... And she got him.
Excellent.
So she's going to get some pretty good levels here, too. That's always helpful. And what did she get? A Murasame. Invin's favorite sword. Is this even randomized?
So long as it's not the ancient sword, then it's okay.
I believe Podrek's doing tower and Baka's knocking out dwarf castle. Another blast, another whiff.
Looks like Rumblefish sold a lot of goods in order to buy that Stardust Rod for Palom, so that's going to make him extremely powerful for the rest of this run. It does look like through the Sheila checks, Rumblefish was able to get the rat tail. We'll see if this leads to wherever the Legend Sword is. If it does, then that's going to be bad news for Natara, who's betting that at least something important is on the move.
Rumblefish turning in Rat Tail, getting a ribbon for their trouble. Rumble at this point up to 8 key items, just not the ones they're looking for. Which goes to show Natara's checks here might actually be pretty fruitful, because we're exhausting some spots and we still haven't seen the other piece that we need.
Yeah, there's a couple places that we haven't seen yet. I might have missed it. Did Rumblefish check the rat tail?
Yes,
That's
it was
where the
just
ribbon
it
was?
it was a ribbon.
Okay. So we still have, I think, one boss down in the Fame Arch, right?
Evil Wall is down there, has not been taken down yet.
Yeah, so we don't know what's behind that. And we don't know what's behind Twin Heart.
Yeah, Baka's our one runner with Adamant at this point, so I would love to see that Twin Heart check. Could come out to be a very useful check.
Natara finding the Ogopogo on the moon. That's going to be a tough one. Using these nukes are a bit dangerous against Ogopogo because they prompt the counter blaze, and that's going to do quite a bit of damage here.
Yeah, the timing on that is extremely tight, especially to get the heals off in time.
Let's see if she decides to alter her strategy.
Probably gonna go a little more defensive here, try to keep everybody topped up. Ogopogo's gonna be pretty fast in this spot as well, so pretty rough.
Yeah, I think it's tough because since she decided to do this Lunar play pretty early, like her main damage dealers are definitely the nukes out of Fu. So she's got to find a way to keep her HP up, despite the fact that she's getting hit with these AoE percent damage attacks like the Blaze and the big waves that Ogopogo puts out. This is not going to be an easy fight for her. I think it's doable, and I think she can do it, but she just has to be pretty careful.
As long as she can keep everybody topped up here, there's some damage potential too, since she found that crystal sword for Cecil. But just keeping them in the fight, Ogopogo is just lobbing bombs.
Yeah, it's the physical attacks are going to be what's going to be the tough thing for Cecil, because Ogopogo hits quite hard at this point as well.
But she's staying very smart, very defensive, trying to keep everybody up here.
Poydrak finding a ribbon for sale also in the Feymarch. Decides to buy one of those and a curse string. So some valuable equipment available to the runners.
And saving as well, probably gearing up for summon fights that should be very doable for Poydrak. Rumblefish, meanwhile, having a little bit of trouble with Pale Dim, understandably so.
Yeah, the both of those spots in the Feymarch have pretty high physical attack. The Vanilla Leviathan spot, one of the strongest in the game, I think. Maybe the strongest physical attack in the game. But they're both no nonsense when it comes to how hard they can hit. This is, especially the Pale Dim, if utilizing something like Blink is something that might be effective. And if their edge has gotten up high enough level to learn Image, which is also a Blink.
And just barely skimmed through. That adamant armor really did work there.
Nicely done, Rumblefish.
Rumblefish, our second runner to find adamant at this point, halfway to go mode.
That was definitely a nail biter from Fish right there. Very well done to get it done right at the end.
Looks like Baka's back row glitching party is going to make the dive to the giant, looks like. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see if Baka's going to do much like Poydrak did, with a bit of a D-machine grind.
Meanwhile, Natara is berserking up and trying to be a little better prepared for Ogo this time. Last time, Cecil got knocked out right away. Just didn't have a lot of potential for berserk. But
now in this flag set, I could definitely understand wanting to do this D-machine grind. Since the J items are not on, there's no ability to buy sirens. So we're not going to see an egg grind. We're not going to see it. If we are going to see a King Reed grind, it's going to be off of random encounters. And so they're just not as reliable as they would normally be. So the best grind that's left after that is, especially considering we do have access to boost grinds.
And we have our Legend Sword. Natara now in 1/2 go mode.
But the question now is, how much more of the moon is she going to do before she finds her way down to the Feymarch and that Pale Dim spot?
I hear a lot of different things from different runners when you have these spots in play. A lot of them are very tempted. Okay, I have 1/2 here. I can save scum, go back to the earth, check out, finish my checks. If they don't work out, I can come back. Or they just want to plow through. They want to, I'm already here, I'm going to finish it. So it's going to be interesting to see what she decides.
It is an interesting choice. For Natara, what might end up being the reason why she stays on the moon is she hasn't found that magma key yet.
Oh yeah, that's true. She hasn't been underground.
And she hasn't gone through the hook route. So that might be the reasoning that she wants to do more up here.
And Evil Wall had a Luca key. So Poydrak now has the Luca key.
Yeah, so that's going to be a couple more Earth checks then between the Twin Harp, the Luca key, before runners might head up to the moon if they're going to be exhausting. Because the other thing is, on the Earth, you might want to... It's these seas where one of the fights, or one of the items is on the moon and one is on the Earth, then it makes it real interesting to see what people decide to do.
And Rumblefish definitely struggling with Evil Wall here, but...
Oh, he's fine. He's got the adamant, or the ribbon, I believe, on Palom, making him immune to the crush. So
just a matter of time then. And definitely looks like Baka's going the grind route.
Now, Poydrak in that pale dim fight, which we know leads to the adamant as well.
I would like to take the opportunity to call out that Simbu, not one of our featured runners, but has finished in first place with a time of 1 hour, 17 minutes, 41 seconds. So congratulations to Simbu.
Yeah, GG's to Simbu.
Mitara here, just slowly working away at Kanazo, just a matter of time now as well. And
Yeah, got him in.
Easy fight here with Pale Dim with this party.
Yeah, Poydrak shouldn't have many problems with any fights for the rest of the team, considering how
Whole
much
day.
of a grind he did. Yeah.
Win. Alright. All 4 runners have 1 half a go mode at this point. Interesting to see where Poydrak goes from here. If they think they're ready to go tackle Moon, if they're done on Earth, that's going to bode well for them. That's another thing with these races. You have 2 trains of thought when you're doing these races. You're either the racer that is, I'm ignoring the race chat, I'm not going to look at it because it's just going to make me nervous when I see people finish. Or you're the racer that's, oh wait, somebody just finished, I need to change up what I'm doing.
Yeah, and it becomes easy to overthink yourself. Like, you could be like 1 chest away from the right one, but you need to you think like, oh, because somebody finished or because a lot of people have finished, that means it's got to be in spot X, so you might miss out on it. So, playing the metagame with that can be if you read it correctly, you feel like a genius. If you don't, you feel like a fool. So,
If you don't, you have all of a sudden 17 out of 17.
yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt.
Which is what I do, so I consider it a win. I get to see what's happening in the loot cave now.
Yeah, I admit I'm sometimes stubborn and don't deviate from a plan, and that can. It's like anything that any of these runners make a game. This is the beauty of the randomizer.
Yeah, I think the only time I really probably rethink when it comes to the meta for me personally is I rethink Ordeals a lot. Like, depending on what's going on there. If I opted to skip it and someone finishes really fast, then I'm like, they checked Ordeals and found something. But I try not to let it impact me too much.
Well, it depends on how the runners feel about, like, if they're looking the chat and see that Simbu finished. If they think that it feels like he finished really fast, that might signal to the runners, oh, the 2 key items, the adamant and the legend sword must be near each other. Then they might be thinking, I've got to just stay where I am. And this would mean for Natara, stay on the moon, for the other 3 runners, stay on the blue planet. Whereas if they think that it's a bit longer, like if they think like, oh, it seems really long that nobody's finished, and then it happens, then they might think, I should go to the other place. So it kind of depends, I think. It also might depend on if they know the runner who finished, and if they know of anything, like how they tend to run, because that you can get deep in it sometimes.
So I'm interested to see here. So Baka's got level 1 Cecil down there. I want to see this rubber band.
Oh, he picked up a level 1 Cecil. Oh,
Yep.
That's why he chose to do it then. Level 67 now.
It looks like Rumble's going to turn into Twin Harp, though.
Yeah, so we're going to get some music. Rumblefish now being the of the people.
Yep, 67. Oh boy.
All right, time to listen to DJ Spoony B's Rockin' Tunes.
Believe that's Street Fighter.
It's definitely
Guile's
Street
theme.
Fighter.
Well, you know it does go with everything.
It's appropriate for a fight.
Right. In this case, probably a fairly quick one. Tara has found Golbez.
They say, "You Dark Imps, take this, Sonic Boom." That's my best Guile. So.
It was good. It was good. I liked it. I believe Poitrak's doing Dwarf Castle now, and Baka is on the moon. Oh, no, they're not. Okay, I misread that.
Might be going to check that
healing
Odin
up.
spot.
Yeah, Odin spot. My bad, everybody. I made an assumption.
Now, Golbez is going to be a bit more difficult in this flag set with the lack of star veils. Looks like Fusia did survive, so hopefully Natara will have enough time to get that wall spell off from Fusia before he croaks.
And we have a spoon behind the twin heart check.
Looks like the magic in this spot. I didn't see which spot this was that it's at, but it looks like the magic's not that tough. So using the life twos seems to be a smart move here.
Yeah, it ought to be pretty doable. Baka gonna make very quick work of this Mylon fight.
Chocoserver asks Wyvern spot. That's my guess, based on the magic damage that's being doled out here. My guess is this is the Wyvern spot.
So I do believe that's almost all of our key items accounted for, except for package. And maybe pass. I don't think we've seen pass.
Yeah, I don't think they found it. I think Natara's probably in line to find it.
Someone in chat saying that package was in sealed cave. Okay, I missed that.
Oh, that's not just somebody in chat. That's our tracker, Paranoia.
Oh, sorry, Paranoia. I just looked at the sentence.
Oh, and the pass was at Ogopogo. Again, thanks, Paranoia. So Natara does have the pass, so that is an advantage that that Natara currently has. It looks like she's done with the moon, so she still needs to go through the hook route. But she hasn't gone underground yet.
Yeah, Magma Q's underground, so she's got to make her way through.
Yeah, so the question is, when she gets through, how soon is it before she finds that pale dim spot? She does have the tower keys, so that makes me... A lot of our runners decided to go and cash that in right away, so that might be where she decides to go. We'll see.
Yeah, with that key, it's a very tempting spot. Unfortunately, just no value today. It looks like Rumble, though, deciding it's moon time.
And Poydrak going through the Sheila route.
Yeah. Looks like Baka's not feeling finished with the underground either. Probably gonna go try to take down Evil Wall.
Yeah, it hasn't done the Evil Wall, doesn't have that. Oh, I see. Rumblefish was also looks like went in to rescue somebody. I didn't see who it was, though. I missed that. But I saw him coming out of the city like that, so might be preparing to do a grind.
Tara finding a crystal ring, pretty good find. Natara's gonna make her way underground through the Evelyn Cave. And I believe Rumble is finishing up Bahamut Cave here.
Yeah, well, looks like just... Yep, gonna be heading down. Gonna be very happy to see King Evelyn. To answer your question, Chokosura, I'm not sure where he found the Avenger. But there is one fang that'll be found in a chest. Because there is one found in a chest in the vanilla game, so... Well, Paranoia says he bought it, so...
I know. Poydrak getting the ribbon, turning in that rat tail. Have to assume the moon's looking pretty tempting at this point. An adamant armor to make that already pretty powerful team just that much more. Ow.
Yeah, Poydrak might. I don't think he's gone to Cave Magnus, so has that as an option as well. Baka Shinobi heading down to that sealed cave, going to be disappointed to see the package down there. Whereas, looks like Natara is making progress towards the underworld. With all the levels, there's going to be absolutely no issue with Pain Man for her.
Yep, still no second place yet. Could be in any of our featured runners at this point.
Yeah, as far as our featured runners now, it looks like Rumblefish and Natara are in the driver's seat. It just depends on what their routing is. For Rumblefish in the Lunar subterrain and Natara in the underworld when they get through there.
Definitely plenty of possibilities. Like I said, that's been kind of the cool part about these flags is just, you know, depending on the flags, you might just see everybody go in the same direction, but we've definitely been all over the place with this seed.
Well, it's also interesting because, like, now that we have just been through this big World Series event that went on for a few months, a while back, not too long back, in fact, and those flag sets that were in there were played by the community so much that it seemed like there was maybe not full consensus, but a lot of similar strategies done by a lot of runners. Now that we're back into just these regular weeklies, we've got different flag sets every week, and they aren't really something that gets a lot of practice before them. And I think that's part of the fun. Like, you get to see people Like I don't think there's a lot of people who do a lot of T1 S4 flags like we've got tonight. So this is really interesting to see how people decide to do it. And we see with Baka Shinobi buying Avengers, that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. And Rumblefish, it is I, Vanilla Fusoya. And looks like Rumble's gonna say no. Tossing that second Fusoya, happy with the columns and ready to go.
Yeah, I think Rumblefish is slightly in the lead.
I don't know. Baka's making their way to the moon now. They're pretty well equipped.
That's true. Rumble didn't do any sort of. I mean,
Baka, quick work of bosses here. But depending on what Natara decides when she gets to underground, she's in a pretty good position as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Natara decides to go right to the Fame Arch and finds that Pale Dim and is able to beat him, then she's got kind of the head start because she's the one that's closest to Coco's hut, and she has the pass. So that could turn things around. But she's got a lot more places to check than Rumblefish or Baka Shinobi does. So that's kind of like the mitigating factor.
So it really just depends what bosses they go after. It looks like Rumblefish is opting to dive and work their way out. I like that strategy, and it can come in handy for him. And I think Baka's doing the same thing. And Rumble's just being drawn like a magnet to that Legend Sword.
Yep, in the Ogopogo fight, and I believe this is also the same fight where Natara found pass. So this is going to be big game for Rumblefish.
And congratulations, Poydrak. You got yourself a spoon.
Well, at least he can dart it.
Yep. And Natara officially underground now.
Ooh, did Rumblefish reset out of that? And
I think so.
Ooh, that's gonna be rough. That's what the lower levels. That's gonna make it a bit tougher for him than on Baka Shinobi. So that might be the deciding factor. Because Rumblefish definitely got to Ogopogo first.
Yeah, but just the level difference there, especially that ridiculous rubber banded Cecil.
But that just means Big Wave deals more.
True. But hitting like a truck.
So now here's the question: where does Natara go?
About to find out. And yep,
Sits right back down, going to tower. It looks like. Baka Shinobi defeats the Nope Doodle. And
Poydrak checking Odin.
Oh, it doesn't give the pass. The pass must have been next door. That was the Earth Crystal along with it, so
that might make a difference here. Then that Baka will have to come back and go all the way through the Lunar subterrain. But they are in, I mean, they're pretty well set at this point. They are in go mode. They are ready to go. They just got to turn in and come back.
well, Rumblefish is taking another shot at the oak. Good to know.
You're probably hoping to berserk up Cecil and just keep everybody topped up. Probably just gonna parry with Palom, so that way they'll get the blaze counter and hopefully keep them alive for experience.
Yeah, and can also throw like a Q3 in this area as well.
Looks like Poydrek's finished with the Odin spot. Making their way to Ordeals, probably thinking Moon now, I would imagine. And the crystal is now in Baka's hands. They've got to go back to the Moon, and it is go time.
Yeah, and this should not be a difficult Baka Shinobi at these levels.
Tara gonna make pretty quick work of some Rubicon here. Let's see what she decides next. Meanwhile, Poydrek's making the dive too. They might hit go mode before Rumblefish at this rate.
Well, Poydrek's in the cave.
Oh, it's in the Bahama
right
cave.
now.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so
Even still, they shouldn't take them long.
Yeah, depending on what Poydrek's routing in the going to be. It looks like the other three runners all did the deep dive pretty early. Let's see if Poydrek follows suit once he's done with taking care of the king and queen here.
And Baka making the dive down while Matara's finishing up tower. And Rumblefish hanging in there for a pretty rough Ogo fight. It's going to take a bit, but playing it smart, hoping to trit through.
Yeah, using the blink spell to protect his valuable asset Cecil through the physical part of Ogopogo's damage. Heads up play, and it ends up working for him. So GG's there.
Oh, well done.
And so that's going to put Rumblefish in go mode as well. But now the other thing that Rumblefish has to do, he might not be happy with it. It looks like he's not going to forge the crystal right now, so
Probably going to try to see if there's another easy moon boss or at least doable moon boss to get some levels.
now this might end up paying out for him. I mean, I don't know if it'll be enough to catch up to Baka Shinobi right now, but this is a good thing because this vanilla Ogopogo spot is where Natara found the pass. So if Rumblefish is able to take out the Bygid right here, then he'll be rewarded with the pass. And then won't have to go all the way back up and walk down the Lunar subterrain. So this could pay off pretty well for Rumblefish. And with these quakes, he might even be able to kill Bygid's arms multiple times, get a lot of experience in one fight here.
And if I saw correctly, I don't even think Baka's saved. They're so confident in their party at this point. They're just, let's just do it.
Yeah, I think when you've fought Zeromus enough times, and you've got a Cecil at whose level is in the 60s with adamant armor and Avenger, you don't really need to worry about a whole lot.
Psh, easy mode. I do want to say Moonblaze Wolf has finished in second place with a time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 22 seconds. So congratulations to Moonblaze Wolf.
Yeah, GG's to Blaze. Now, I haven't seen any of our featured runners check the employment dwarf in Tomra. Natara might be our last chance for that here. But also, we need to know whose butt are we going to kick tonight.
Whose butt's it gonna be tonight? And Poydrek opting to top down their way through the Lunar subterrain.
And Natara is heading down to the Fey Marsh. Hopefully, we'll be fighting the bosses down there. Or at least failed in.
Yeah.
Tifa's Revenge. I would love a Scooby-Doo-amus.
Yes. Who's it gonna be? Zycomus. Alright. I'm not familiar with this one.
I thought Tuvok was a Vulcan.
Okay. And been calling out the final boss of Wild Arms.
Rumblefish now has the past. So in go mode with the past.
Oh, good deal. So, in a good position.
I think all things considered, all 4 of our runners might finish relatively close to each other. They're all kind of closing in on the last piece of the puzzle, if not already equipped with it.
I think the main divergence is just going to come in some of the levels here. Baka and Poydrak are in a very good position to at least finish Zeramus pretty quickly.
I think Natara's not too far behind as far as levels. Rumblefish shortcut a lot of stuff early. So it didn't take the time to do any sort of grinding, anything like that. But it looks like he's in pretty good shape. It shouldn't take him too long to get the levels that he needs to feel comfortable with his Zeramus.
Yeah, just a few King Ryus here, be good to go. Tara making her way through the evil wall, I believe.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for her. She decided.
Baka not having too much trouble with Zeramus at this point, which is to be expected.
In fact, there's the flash.
There's the flash. We have Baka Shinobi finished in 3rd place with 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 8 seconds. GG to Baka.
GG, and we'll see if Baka wants to go. Yeah, it does look like Poydrak decided to make the trek, as you mentioned, Dave, from the bottom. Now fighting the Galvez, which we should remember was in the Wyvern spot.
And Rumble making pretty quick work of King Ryu's here and successfully pulling off life glitches.
And it looks like we're joined by Baka Shinobi.
Hello.
Shinobi, GG on your run tonight.
Thank you. That rough start was a bit rougher than I was enjoying, but eventually got rolling.
Yeah, you got rolling, and you decided to do that D-machine grind in the middle of the run. I think one could say that your Cecil was a bit overpowered by the end of that one.
Yeah, I was hoping that the D-machines would give a bit more money too, but I don't regret it because it gave me just enough money to buy that Avenger, which turned out to be really helpful.
Yeah, definitely made short work of Zeramus.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like the Magus sisters gave everybody a hard time too. It wasn't just you.
Yeah, it was. I feel a little silly not noticing that Fu had Fatal when I went up to the moon, so I could have just, killed the other stuff that way.
Yeah, the Warlocks, right?
Yes, the Warlocks and yeah. If I remember that I had the Fatal spell and that actually worked on them and hit, that would help.
Yeah. So what did you think about this kind of unorthodox flag set?
G1 is I need to go and learn where T1 treasures are, so eventually I just started treating it like T5 and skipped all the treasures.
Sure.
It's hard to go and get a lot of value from those treasure chests because there's just so many, like 10 gold, a cure 1 potion, a life potion. It's, you know, I'd be better off just trying to go and fight fights, get money that way, and pick stuff up from the shop.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the key. Like, it might have been the right choice to just not open any chests, period, in this run. It's hard to tell, because you could get rewarded with, like, a Stardust Rod or something like that, because that's in a vanilla chest. So.
And ethers are pretty handy when you got a lot of fuso,
Yeah, I didn't regret picking up, like, scouting some early chests and finding those ethers. Those would have mattered a bit more if I spent them, rather than just resting, but... Yeah,
well, you didn't need them for the D machine grind?
I only had to do a few D machine. I only had to do 5 D machines, so I threw 1 ether 1 out, but that was unnecessary. I was planning on 10 because I figured that would be good to get experience, and that gave a fair bit of money, but didn't give as much money as like Gold Dragons, and
right.
Cecil does not need nearly as much money experience as Rydia, and Rydia takes like 12 D machines to get slingshotted up to nuke, so that was probably overkill. Okay, definitely overkill.
So one thing we were kind of speculating about too, I'd love to get your thoughts on. So seeing Simbu finish and then eventually Moonblaze, did that have any impact on what you were doing? Did you change up anything seeing that other people were finishing?
When Simbu finished, I decided, you know what, I should check Evil Wall before I go to the moon, because Simbu would probably be able to make Evil Wall work, especially with the adamant. Especially when I found adamant armor at Dwarf, but in retrospect, I imagine Simbu probably when he found the adamant, just went straight to the moon rather than clearing out much more of the Earth, and that probably gave him a fair amount of lead, though he probably also wiped a bit less in the early game. But yeah, I figured it probably wasn't Twin Harp, because I don't think Simba would go and make that check after finding it where it was, and he would probably go for the higher value spots like Moon. Going for Moon after getting 1 item seems to be a generally good play just because of how much stuff there is up there.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time out to join us for a quick interview, Baka, and congratulations again, and have a fantastic night.
Thanks, you too, and thank you both for commentating. I'm sure everyone else appreciates it as well.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
All right, so that's Baka Shinobi, our 3rd place finisher overall, and the first of our featured runners to finish this seed. Make sure you give them a follow, along with the other featured runners, Poidrak, Rumblefish82, and Atara. All very good runners in their own right. Also want to give a shout out to the people working behind the scenes today. Paranoia doing the tracking, and Invenerable doing the restreaming tonight. So, along with my co-commentator, Casual Geek Dave.
And, it's always a pleasure to do commentary with Rex here, so they are definitely worth a follow. I follow them myself and lurk in his streams from time to time, so definitely worth a follow as well. And also want to call out that Zilch has finished in 4th place with a time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 45 seconds. So congratulations, Zilch.
Poidrak just picks up his Legend Sword, so Poidrak now has the keys to complete the game, and so all of our featured runners are now in go mode.
And yeah, Natara's ready to go too. She's got that pass. It looks like she's making the dive. And extra shout out to Rex too. He joined us at the last minute tonight, and no notice. So definitely thank you to Rex for joining us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm just glad that I could help. So yeah, definitely excited to see how this one ends with our runners. Rumblefish finishing up his grinding here. Looks like, if I'm just judging on HP values alone, looks like he should be pretty close to done with his grind at this point.
It should be fairly ready. And
yep, there's the exit. So yeah, this is going to be very close between all 3 of the rest.
Yes. And I apologize if I butchered this name, but Dr. Kosik has finished in 5th place with a time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 16 seconds. So congratulations, Doctor.
Oh yeah, I always appreciate Dr. Cossac's user taken from Mega Man 4.
And BG Rich 419 has finished in 6th place with a time of 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 4 seconds.
GG BG Rich.
Rumble going to turn in here, and probably going to have probably 3 people at Zeromas at once at this rate, because all 3 are ready to go.
Yeah, Poydrak does have to make the long walk back through the Lunar subterrain, because he did not fight Baigan in the Ogopogo spot. So Rumblefish is going to have a shortcut, even though Poydrak's a little bit ahead right now. I'd probably be entering the battle a little bit with Poydrak.
And Natara here, the biggest probably at risk with the party. She has the most potential for wiping, so she is going to have to execute pretty well here. And Woo Bear, W-E-W Bear, has finished in 7th place with a time of 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 12 seconds.
Yeah, I think you're probably right that she entered with the lowest levels. However, looks like she's getting everything set up to do these reflect strats with the Fusias. Looks like might be doing a little bit of additional physical damage with the other guys, but looks like she's planning on doing mostly reflecting.
And so hopefully she can get a cure off before that big bang hits, though.
That one's going to be tough.
And Rumblefish turning in the pass, going to be starting Zeromus in just a moment, while Poydrak's making the dive down the Lunar subterrain.
Natara did have to take a reset here, so... Well, it looks like she's getting in the airship, so she might want to do a grind.
It might be doing a quick grind just to top up.
Oh, and she's going to go to the moon for her grind, so that's going to put her a little bit further back. She was in very good shape, but those levels were tough. She might be just going to Basidia to rescue someone.
And that's going to be a pretty long grind.
Well, she might be looking to slingshot him if she decides to get in the machine. Or as Paranoia says in the chat, might be going for an anchor as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if getting spells off before the Big Bang was what was the biggest problem there, then switching up and getting a better anchor is definitely a way that you do that better as well. Doesn't put that Palom in the middle though, so that makes me think maybe it is a grind. Now Rumblefish in the fight, Poydrak just about to start it.
Yeah, she's getting on the whale. Looks like either just resting or she may be opting to do the giant. There she goes. She's heading the giant. She's going for a grind.
Now, as far as reflect strats go, Rumblefish is set up nicely, having 4 casters and Cecil to be there to have the reflect on him.
Yeah, Poydrak's in a very good position to hybrid. So
Oh yeah.
could potentially see which one pays off better here. Palm hitting like a truck though. That's definitely helpful.
Yeah, both Poydrak and
Poydrak's-
Dr. Shinobi had the ridiculously high level Cecil.
And Poydrak's Palm's also just very effectively nuking, so those hybrid strats could come in handy pretty well here too. Yeah, Cecil hitting 6K. That's pretty good.
Yeah, the advantage of the hybrid is that the attacks, like the animations and everything, and they're just so much shorter. The advantage of the pure reflect is you don't have to deal as much damage overall for the win. So
Yeah, unless you just so happen to get lucky and avoid the skip with the hybrid, but it's not likely.
yeah, I think oftentimes if you're going like pure hybrid, you're not even worried about counting that. Like, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, it's more just a fluke of luck at that point.
Rumblefish using the crystal again in the fight as a way to try to nuke an upcoming big, or not nuke, nerf an upcoming Big Bang. Using that as an item makes that counter nuke happen from Zeramis, and then that can, if it's done at the right time after a shake, it can make it so that the magic power for the next Big Bang will be a lot less. And instead of dealing up to like 2,000 amount of damage, it might do like around 800, and that's significantly less. Looks like the timing might have been a little off because that was a pretty high damage roll there. But luckily, all of the characters lived, and that's what's really important.
Definitely.
And there's a
makes big
flash.
difference.
Rumblefish has finished.
Yeah, Rumblefish finishing in 8th place with 2 hours, 1 minute, and 1 seconds. Very well done there. Looks like Poydrak right behind him in 9th place, 2 hours, 1 minute, 14 seconds. GG's to both runners. Well done.
Yeah, Rumblefish sniped that by 13 seconds on the official. Let's see if they want to come in.
And maybe bicker at each other over the snipe.
But yeah, they entered it pretty... Like, Rumblefish ended a little bit faster, I think. Or entered it a little bit before Poydrak. So the higher levels with the hybrid, I think the fact that Cecil was able to hit for just so much made him catch up, and not quite enough to overtake him. And looks like we are joined right now by Poydrak.
Hey! Doesn't matter how many levels you have, if you don't have the actual items to go to the Romas, you can't actually finish the game. It seems.
That's true. That is absolutely true.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
And we're also joined by Rumblefish, who sniped Poydrak by about 14 seconds before the end there. So, GG's to both of you, by the way.
Thank you much.
Well done, Rumble.
Yeah, I was pretty close between us. You must have been hot on my tail.
You guys did quite different strategies. Poydrak did a D-machine grind and had a very overpowered Cecil, where Rumblefish went pure reflect for that. So seeing both of them on the screen at the same time was very interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to check out the VOD afterwards just to see that play out.
Yeah, I went in to do. I always had in mind to do the D-machine grind early if I had Teller or Fu. As soon as I got weak and the Darkness Crystal, so I just went to do that. It would have paid off better if I'd found the items earlier. That's the only difference it would have made to actually my race.
Yeah. So what do you think about this? We had a hook seed. We had a one of the we had the adamant down at the bottom of the Fame Arch. We had the legend sword at the bottom of the Lunar subterrain. This is what you want for a KQM seed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty spread out. I mean, the adamant was behind the Pale Dim and the Leviathan spot in the underworld, which I like got by the skin of my teeth. I mean, I had
Yeah.
I mean,
25 HP left on Rosa, right?
yeah, exactly. So I mean, that was like a well-earned value in that slot. So I'm glad that paid off. That was not a waste of time for me. And then yeah, then you had on the moon, you had in the ribbon spot, which is of course the most valuable spot because there's 2 key items there. You got the legend sword, and of course that's behind Ogopogo. And if you can't hit it with any magic, so you have to be kind of creative in your strats there. So this kind of gave you a little bit of everything, and I like how there was the treasure was toned down in this seed because it really made you think about resources a little bit more carefully, a little more differently than as opposed to just like finding like Excalibur in the chest in Town of Baron or something like that. You had to really kind of think about where you're going to get your items and be conservative with your gold too. You weren't going to have a lot to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Poydrak, did that factor in? Like, did you watching 4 streams at once is tough. How much of the fact that there was S4 available did you use for equipment shopping, and how much were you able to afford?
I knew going in that this was because there was no easy source of money. There was no dupe glitch. There was no items in the chests. I knew it was going to be very hard, so I didn't do too much in the way of shop checks early on. On the ones that I did do, I saw the items that I wanted: Stardust Rod in Fabul, as well as a Full Moon and Sorcerer Robe. Those were three of the great things to find there. There was also a Crystal Sword in Kaipo if you wanted to go and get that, but I got mine from Bahamut spot, so yay.
Yeah.
Other than that, there wasn't really too much in the way of checks because I knew I wasn't going to have the money I wanted. And that is also one of the reasons why I focused getting levels early to offset that. Because levels on Rosa, levels on Parlam, they don't need the equipment if they've got Quake, if they've got White, if they've got their heals. And the Excalibur early just helped Cecil go keep up until I found some items I needed for him.
Yeah, in addition to levels, I mean, we had Fusoya too for my seed and for the seed, and getting it really helped that when you don't have access to a high-powered treasure, just getting him up with the boss kills, getting him with all of his spell set and more hit points for him is also key, I think.
Yeah, and especially that Fusia starts with such good equipment to start with too. Like that definitely adds to his value. Any other final thoughts on this seed from either of you?
Well, the one thing I am really happy about is that the Mist Dragon did pay off in the end with that Mazamune.
Yes.
I got that and thought, yeah, it's even money or I'm going to make good use of it.
I think it just kind of my final thoughts this year is that you just kind of got to make use of the rescue flag, because what I had Edge to begin with, and I never found the Masamune or anything like that. And so by the time I was like almost like 3/4 through the seed, I still didn't have any major equipment for Edge. But as it turns out, I got the Crystal Excalibur, I got all the Dragoon equipment, and I was like, I know Cecil's waiting for me in Mysidia, so I might as well swap him out for Edge, and that really paid off. I don't think I could have won against Ogopogo if I hadn't swapped him out with Cecil. So
yeah, very heads up play there for sure. Yeah,
I think the biggest thing that you can take away from this seed is that there are lots of ways to actually win this game. You don't have to settle on one particular strategy. Go with what you feel is best and just stick with it. Don't have second thoughts. Stick with what you are going to do. It will work out.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank both of you for joining us, and thank you both for letting us watch your race tonight. GG's.
No problem. GG
Thank
to everyone. Have a good
GG.
evening.
Thank you both. All right, yeah. To their point, we definitely saw a great wide variety of just strategies and methodologies here tonight. So it was very entertaining. And Nataran, meanwhile, has finished her grind and is going to finish Zeromus off.
Yeah, went through that D machine grind. Much better shape this time around than we saw the first time. So just ready to enter that right now. So let's
Yeah.
root for her here.
And while we were interviewing there, I called it out in chat. Just want to call it again. Nitsky finished in 10th place with 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 5 seconds. And Darkabolt finished in 11th with 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 57 seconds. So congratulations to both of those runners.
All right, so now here comes Natara's Revenge. Figure that's the sequel to some probably really awesome video game.
That's the name for Monday night races now.
Oh, okay. Even though it's Demarin who's running the Monday night races, but we'll still call it Natara's Revenge.
Demarin is Natara's Revenge.
Oh, fair enough.
All right. She's definitely much better set up to take down Zeromus this time.
Yeah, you definitely feel like if you look at those HP levels that the characters have, you feel very happy with those for the Zeromus fight.
I didn't catch the last level, Sonny, but I believe Palom's at least in the mid-50s, if not like around 57, and started out at minimum level, so pretty good slingshot.
Yeah, 2700 HP is very high for Palom because he does not have very good HP growth. So, if you've got Palom at a higher HP total than Rosa, it was a pretty good slingshot.
Yeah, solid, 10 out of 10.
But it looks like that Zeromus is still a little bit speedy there, able to get that big bang off before Fusia in the middle was able to get healed from the counter nuke. But I think, all things considered, should still be in a good spot to finish this.
Yeah, probably running a little fast. The party, this level, there's probably gonna be a lot of speed involved.
Yeah, and Fusia, like when you use him as a anchor, I mean, he gets the job done, but he's the 20 agility that he's basically stationary at isn't ideal. It's a little bit higher than, like, I prefer to have somebody with a lower agility if I can't get somebody at that 28 threshold. But if you've got enough damage output from your other characters, it doesn't always matter how fast Zeromus is. And you see Cecil hitting for like 6,000 damage there. It shouldn't be too tough from here on out.
Yep, sinking in some solid hits here. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and if you're able to casually cast a Life 2 after Zeromus shakes, you're feeling pretty confident.
A little bit of swag there.
Yeah. Look at that lovely animation for the white spell. Tons more damage. I guess I was wrong. It was not a Life 2, it was a white. And there's the flash.
All right, And Atara has finished in 12th place with a time of 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 20 seconds.
So GG's to Natara. I will see if she wants to come in for a brief interview. And in the meantime, I'll say make sure you give all of the runners a follow today. Natara, Bullfish, Poydrak, and Bakashinobi. And
Oh, hi. I hear rumors there's a race channel in here.
Oh, hello there.
Oh, hello there.
hi!
Hi to you
Congratulations
too.
on your
Oh,
finish.
thank you.
A little bit of a struggle there, but that grind made
Eh.
the second go a lot easier.
Let's be real. I jumped into that first Aromas just for a lull. I knew my levels weren't high enough, but I wanted to test, see what I could do. And then the first 3 things I did were mistakes.
Oh,
So I struggle a lot. The one thing I still struggle with in Zeromus is the timings for when to cast a spell so it will actually just work and not just be like, no, you targeted the previous Zeromus. He's not here anymore. And I was like, I'm going to wait longer this time. And it still did it in the second fight. I'm like, I hate you. I hate you so much. But yeah, so I had purposely not recruited the second Palom and had dismissed the first Palom, specifically in the case that I was going to have to go and grind, because I was like, it's going to have to be grind fight on the giant. We don't have sirens. We don't have any of the really good weapons or the really good J items to allow us to grind. So if it's going to be a giant grind, I'm going to save someone to slingshot, and that worked remarkably well.
yeah, we did see 3 of the 4 featured runners tonight do that giant G machine grind. Different times. Like Bhakti Shinobi did it super early, and you did super late, and Poydrak somewhere in the middle. So it was just kind of interesting when that timing of doing that was going to do. So
Yeah, part of my struggle was I kept not checking places for and finding life potions. So
Yeah.
I got life potions super late. So it's basically once I knew I had to grind, I was like, well, I've got them now, so let's just go.
Sure. What did you think about this? Was you came up with these flags, right?
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
How did you? No. I well, talking to us, we love it.
Well, you're so welcome. It was actually pretty good, mostly because the seed that was rolled gave me amazing characters. So I was like, oh, this is good. Oh, and you're giving me all of Cecil's swords early? Fabulous. Let's do this. So it worked really well. And I'm so used to going underground. I was like, no, I'm going to do the moon first for once, because if nothing else, maybe it'll grind me high enough that I won't have to do a grind fight. And it was so close. It was so close. And
yeah,
then
you were
of course,
just about there.
yeah, I was really close. But then Evil Wall was what was underground. I was like, I can't even fight you for experience because you're a jerk and it's not even worth the time. So I just ditched, and I was like, you know what? Whatever. At this point, I had figured I wasn't very high up in the rankings. So I was like, let's just try some things. And some of it worked, some of it didn't. So it was fun though. Overall I did enjoy the flag set more than I thought I would. There wasn't really an incentive to check many of the chests. So in a lot of cases, I was just, if I have to walk past it, I'll open it. But otherwise, I'm not going out of my way for it. Oh, good. I just missed the sand ruby by not doing Zot. Excellent.
Yeah, we definitely got to see a lot of different strategies and different methodologies for doing things tonight. So definitely thank you for joining us and giving us an entertaining race all around.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I know I definitely enjoyed going to the moon first, because when I found that legend sword, I was like, well, I have no regrets coming to the moon. I got a lot of levels. I found a necessary item, and the pass was up here too. So it was a lot of winning.
Yeah, you were the first of our featured runners to dive moon, so I was definitely fanboying over you the whole time.
Oh, excellent. And I'm glad it went well. I was a little afraid when I went up there that it would be lots of things that wanted to kill me. And then the first boss I found was King and Queen Eblin. I was like, yo, thanks, friends. Except Yang didn't work properly. Anyways, it was fine. So...
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Natara, and taking time, and have a fantastic night.
Yeah, absolutely. You folks do. And thanks so much for commentating, tracking, and restreaming. Anyone who's not following these fine folks, they do such a good job. So definitely check it out.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, so looks like we are going to be raiding someone here in just a moment. We're going to be raiding Bahamut X in just a moment. So thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Rex, do you have anything you'd like to say before we cut?
Just that I was glad that I was able to help jump into the commentary for this. It was a really fun race to watch. I always like when we see divergent strategies, and we definitely saw that tonight. And I think that's what makes for a really good race.
All right, and thank you so much, Paranoia, for keeping us on point with your fantastic tracking, and of course, Invenerable for restreaming for us. So, for all of us here at Free Enterprise, thanks for joining us, and we're going to be raiding Bahamut X in just a moment.
And take care. Have a good night.
All right.
Okay.